Have you ever stopped to wonder why you can remember some super embarrassing moment from like a decade ago? I mean, in crystal clear, gut-wrenching detail, but you can't for the life of you recall what you ate for lunch last Tuesday? It feels pretty unfair, doesn't it? You know, as if our brains are kind of designed to sabotage our own happiness. Well, it turns out there's a powerful scientific reason for this. And today, we're going to dive into the neuroscience of why those painful memories have such a stubborn, sticky hold on it.
So to really get a feel for what we're talking about, let's try a quick experiment together. I want you to think about two different memories. Okay, first, try to remember something simple, totally neutral, from the past week or so. Then, for the second one, I want you to bring up a moment of, pure, cringeworthy embarrassment or humiliation. Let's just see what happens.
So, how did that go? I'm guessing for most of us, remembering lunch last Tuesday is like trying to grab smoke. The details are all fuzzy, right? The senses have faded, the memory just feels kind of distant. But now, switch gears to that awkward moment. Maybe you completely blanked during a big presentation or said something you instantly regretted on a first date. All of a sudden, the picture's in high definition, isn't it? You can literally feel the heat rising in your cheeks, hear the exact tone of voice someone used, and it feels like it just happened, even if it was years ago. This isn't a fluke, you guys. It's a feature. This is your brain working exactly as it was designed.
And that brings us right to the heart of our topic today. This whole tendency to hang on to the bad stuff and let the good stuff slide, it isn't some personal failing. Nope, it's a fundamental feature of our brain's operating system, a concept known as the negativity bias.
You know, this really challenges a common myth about memory. We tend to think of our memory as being like a video camera, just impartially recording everything that happens. But that's not true at all. A much better way to think about it is that your brain is a biased movie editor, and it's an editor who is absolutely obsessed with drama, conflict, and tragedy. It's actively scanning for the most intense emotional scenes and slapping them right at the front of your mental highlight reel, while all those quiet, pleasant moments, yeah, they often end up on the cutting room floor.
So why does this even matter? Well, because this biased editing has some very real-world consequences. When your brain is constantly replaying the negative stuff, it can totally skew your perception of reality, making you feel like your life is just a series of failures. This can fuel chronic anxiety, because you're always braced for the next bad thing to happen. It creates those exhausting rumination loops, where you're stuck replaying a mistake at 3 in the morning. And it makes you hesitate to take new risks, because the memory of a past failure is just so loud. Over time, we can end up feeling like we're living in a museum of our own worst moments, instead of actually enjoying the present.
So, what's the reason for this programming? Well, it all comes down to evolution. It's a feature called the negativity bias. For millions of years, our brain's #1 job wasn't to make us happy, it was to keep us alive. Think about it. For our ancestors, forgetting where the delicious berries grew was a minor inconvenience. But forgetting where the saber-toothed tiger lived? That was a fatal mistake. So our brains evolved to prioritize threats above everything else.
There's this quote from the psychologist Dr. Rick Hansen that just summarizes it perfectly. He said, "Our brains are like Velcro for negative experiences and Teflon for positive ones." I mean, how true is that? The negative stuff just sticks, no effort required. Meanwhile, all the good experiences are like Teflon. They just slide right off, unless we make a really conscious effort to hold on to them. It's such a powerful, sticky idea that really helps you get to the core of this whole negativity bias thing.
Okay, so we know our brain has this bias. We get it, but how does it actually work on a physical, chemical level? In this next section, let's pull back the curtain and explore the brain's survival system, the specific regions and hormones that make these painful memories so incredibly strong.
So to understand this whole process, we need to meet two key players inside your brain. First up, you have the hippocampus. The best way to think of it is as the brain's librarian. Its job is to create and organize memories, carefully filing them away with all the context, the who, what, where, and when. And then you have the amygdala. This is the brain's smoke detector. It's the alarm bell. It's constantly scanning for threats, and it's responsible for processing intense emotions, especially fear. Now, these two work together, but during a painful event, one of them totally takes charge.
So here's exactly how a painful memory gets, superglued into your mind. First, a threat is detected. It could be a physical threat, like a near-miss car accident, or it could be a social threat, like public humiliation. Immediately, your amygdala, that smoke detector, sounds the alarm. This triggers a flood of stress hormones, mostly adrenaline and cortisol. And you can think of adrenaline as a kind of memory superglue. The amygdala essentially screams at the hippocampus, "Hey, this is important, do not forget this." It stamps that memory with a giant red label, strengthening the neural connections and making that memory incredibly durable and super easy to retrieve later on.
What's also fascinating is how these memories get stored. See, a normal memory, like a nice dinner with friends, gets filed away by the hippocampus as a complete story. It has a beginning, a middle, and an end. But a traumatic or highly painful memory, that often gets stored as these fragmented sensory packets. Just the sight of a frowning face, the sound of screeching tires, feeling of heat in your cheeks. Because it's not a complete story filed neatly in the past folder, when a trigger brings it up, it doesn't feel like a memory. It feels like it's happening all over again, right now.
Let's look at how this plays out in real life. At work, you can give 9 fantastic presentations, but it's that one time where your mind went blank that you'll obsess over. That's because your amygdala flagged that social threat and glued it down. Or in a relationship, your partner can say 100 kind and lovely things, but that one cruel comment they made in a moment of anger can ring in your ears for years. It was stamped with emotional pain. Or think about that near-miss accident. Nothing actually happened, but your brain encoded the location with a fear response, making you anxious every single time you drive through that same intersection.
Now, understanding all this science is validating, for sure, but it can also feel a bit, well, deterministic. But here's the good news, it's not. We might be wired for this bias, but we are absolutely not doomed by it. We can consciously take steps to counteract this ancient programming, so let's get to the solution. Let's talk about how we can start rewiring our brains for happiness.
So what can we actually do about it? We're going to cover 3 actionable science-backed techniques. First, we'll learn how to break the cycle of negative thinking. Second, we'll learn a really simple trick to make those positive memories finally stick. And third, we're going to explore a fascinating way to actually edit the emotional sting of old, painful memories.
Okay, step 1. The next time you catch yourself on that mental hamster wheel, just replaying an old mistake, the first step is just awareness. You have to notice it's happening. Then, I want you to literally say, stop, to yourself. Out loud if you can. This is huge for breaking the pattern. And immediately follow it up with a grounding technique to pull your brain out of the past and into the present moment. A really simple one is the 5-4-3 method. Look around and name 5 things you can see. Then notice 4 things you can physically feel, like your feet on the floor. And finally, listen for 3 things you can actually hear. This forces your thinking brain to engage, which helps quiet down that emotional alarm bell of the amygdala.
Now for the second technique. The key to making good memories stick isn't complicated, but it does take a little bit of focus. And the magic number you need to remember is 20 seconds.
This is what's called the 20-second savoring rule. See, because positive experiences don't come with that automatic jolt of adrenaline, we have to manually stamp them as important for our brain's librarian, the hippocampus. So the next time something good happens, someone gives you a genuine compliment, you taste an amazing cup of coffee, you see a beautiful sunset, don't just notice it for a second and then move on. Stop, pause, and hold that positive feeling in your awareness for a full 20 seconds. Really feel it. By doing this, you are telling your brain, hey, this matters, store this one. You're consciously turning that Teflon for good experiences into Velcro.
And now for our final, and maybe the most powerful, technique. It's based on this incredible discovery in neuroscience called memory reconsolidation. What scientists have figured out is that memories are not fixed like carvings in stone. Every single time you recall a memory, it becomes temporarily unstable and changeable. It's like opening a Word document. Before you hit save again, you have this brief window where you can actually make edits.
So, how do we use this?
Well, when a painful memory from the past pops up, don't just passively re-experience the old pain. Actively add a new piece of information to it, your current, wiser perspective. So if you're cringing about that awkward thing you said back in high school, you can consciously add the thought, I was just a kid. I was learning. That one moment doesn't define who I am today. I've grown so much since then. By deliberately pairing the old memory with a new, mature interpretation before it gets resaved, you slowly start to neutralize its emotional charge. You're not erasing the memory, you're updating the file. So, what's the big takeaway from all of this? Look, it's easy to get frustrated with our brains, to feel like they're working against us. But the real reframe here is to see this entire system not as an enemy, but as a protector that's just, well, it's running on slightly outdated software.
This is the single most important thing to remember. Your brain's negativity bias isn't malicious. It is not trying to make you miserable. It's trying to keep you safe using a system that was perfected for a much, much more dangerous world. Its prime directive is survival, and it sees past pain as a crucial piece of data for avoiding future threats.
And this perfectly captures your new role. Think of your brain's survival instinct as an overzealous bodyguard,
It's a little jumpy, it sees threats everywhere. Your job isn't to fire the bodyguard, but to become the boss. To thank it for its vigilance, but to gently and firmly let it know, thanks, I've got this. I'm in charge now. You can consciously choose what you focus on.
And that leaves us with one final question, a call to action. You now have the tools to start rewiring your own brain. So, what good thing, no matter how small, will you choose to savor for a full 20 seconds today? Don't just think about it, the practice starts right now.